Welcome to episode 30 of Talk to the Chip, brought to you by Professors Elif Yalvaç and Jono Podmore. This episode is a continuation of episode 29, covering the work of Italian sound designer and composer Marino Zuccheri.
As you know from the previous episode, Marino Zuccheri was a pioneering sound engineer technician in the Milan phonological studio, or in the Italian version, the Rai Studio di Fonologia Musicale, and he also composed electronic music. There are only two compositions, and we are talking about one of them, but you're going to now listen to Plastico before we present Parete 1967. This piece is available only in the special edition CD version that was released together with the book Marino and Friends, and this piece was composed by Marino Zuccheri in collaboration with Lorenzo Dalloglio, and it was published for the first time along with that book. The piece is from 1961, and this book has a large selection of Zuccheri's graphic designs, diagrams. It shows his artistic personality. Thank you for listening. Enjoy.
It's also interesting that there was, when musicians and composers work with other artists, there's all the collaborations, all the kind of cross-fertilization of ideas, but there's also deadlines that there's, that means that there's a specific point that they were aiming for,
Always a deadline.
Yeah. and it's interesting that to get the technician to do the work meant that his understanding of the whole production process was really profound. It meant that he could really deliver. It's also interesting, I think, that it's because he knew the equipment inside out, because he'd installed it and ordered it and everything, that there was a greater, deeper understanding of what the stuff was capable of. And I thought it was interesting listening to it yesterday, how much how big the dynamic range is of the piece, and how much really low frequencies there are in there.
Yeah,
it's
there
a big
are
bandwidth.
actually. It is. I wonder, how it would be in the space also, but also the final mixing. You can tell maybe that composition has those aspects very clearly because of the technical
the depth of knowledge,
prowess he had. Maybe just like Professor Jono Podmore. Very good master. Okay, this is not commercials, but come on, we all appreciate your mastering skills, but then that's all, like, these things are in combination with each other, like being able to understand composition and having that artistic vision. But here also I can't think of a parallel example for this kind of work that required like patience and time, because it's like it involves a lot of testing ahead of the installation. It says in a technical notes he had to spend months and months because these 14 projectors that you mentioned and the walls and the actual projectors, there were some issues, not issues, but they lacking the resistance for heat, and how do you look after these things? And also ultraviolet rays, because 10 hours a day for 6 months, duration of the Montreal Expo, basically, because of their poor color brightness. Also, this results in changes. So he later experimented with actual glass, and after 4 months of hard work at the Venini furnace in Murano, Venice. He created the final glass slice through a complex technique that involved casting, cutting, engraving, scratching, stamping, etc.
Well, Vedova, of course, was a really, really established and celebrated Italian artist. Anyway, he was quite a bit older than the rest of the guys because because he was part of the kind of Italian expressionism movement pre-Second World War.
Oh, that's very important actually to note down because when I saw things about like Marino, it was all in Italian language, and you can't find much about that other than the very fresh book I got. Right. But like initially, I saw in Rai archives this very beautiful Italian sounding archival video where, white noise or ring modulatore, you're being introduced to the studio. This is filmed in 1960s, and the technician, together with the technician, and I was very curious, wow, like who's that? Because I did know about Studio di Phonologia and their roles and the Berio and everything, but I got very curious, like who's that? And I'm very curious to find out about the full on video. But it looks like he was well celebrated.
Dear listeners, this is a contextual note to add for later reference. The video we're talking about here is part of the Italian National Broadcast Archives, but it is not available in English language. It has been circulated around social media and some of the video platforms like YouTube. But as you know, we always add links and share sources for our references in the show. This will also include the video link. There are actually more than one videos, and these are archive excerpts, but also users who uploaded footage from the museum in Milan, from the studio. And we also are adding a link with images from the Rai archives, but these are all available in Italian language. So if you speak Italian, that's great. And the show continues.
I'm hoping that, like, we would have more of it in this language. So it's and there is that generational part, like where he witnessed both pre-Second World War and after. So thanks.
It's interesting that Luigi Nono's first electronic piece in 1960 was called Omaggio a Emilio Vedova.
Oh yeah, that is something that's.
So he's such a respected, because also Vedova fought in the resistance in the Second World War and was really at the forefront of aesthetic and creative thinking in Italy in the 20th century. Really, really important character,
Yeah, that's important to mention. Thanks for not skipping it. Yeah. And the notes I have are, again, this is basically the book Marino Zuccheri and France. I will add links for that.
We'll put links to, as ever, we'll put links to everything we mention in the notes with the podcast.
So it's been written with the contributions of the people who were connected with him in professional settings, but also personal. It's been written by a musicologist, Marino Zuccheri, or I'm sorry if I'm translating your name, Vaccarini, and Laura Pronesti and Maria Maddalena Novari, musical consultants. So that's this includes his writings, not many by the way, and writings about him, including from things from Berio and Bruno.
But there was one really nice quote I noticed from Henri Pousseur.
Okay.
Who said he referred to Zuccheri as a smiling Neptune.
That's a very nice.
And it reminded me a lot. I mean, my career really started off. I was an engineer, a technician in a studio at the beginning of my career, and that's the thing that you find is that a big, massive part of your job is social.
Why Neptune?
Because this idea of this a very
purple,
positive,
blue
yeah, the colour of his skin. Because this idea of this really nice, positive God, like reliable God-like character in the, and that's the thing is that you have to make artists and people who are walking into a studio. You've got to make them feel comfortable and make them feel at ease, and so that they will be creative.
Then which planet are you then? In
Which
the
planet?
studio?
I don't know. I think probably Pluto.
Oh no, that's it's very complicated because we all love Pluto. We wanted to come back to the. I don't know if it got relisted.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a planet. I've grown up with Pluto as a planet.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
that's
going anywhere.
it's in a way. This is like a very personal question from me to you, Dan. Like do you like when we've been talking about this aspect? Have you realized any like parallels or inspirations when you listen to the piece, but also when you read about all these I mean, it's a side of things in a different way.
Yeah, well, it's as I say, the first, it's quite touching in a way to actually have a piece celebrated by someone who was the technician. Fortunately, in my own career, I've done a lot of my own creative work and a lot of my own compositions and etc. and live shows. But lots of people just end up staying completely as technicians, and it's really nice that something like this celebrates his work, because very often, and I've witnessed it. I've not just witnessed it; I've been part of this process myself of someone coming into a studio, telling the technician what they want.
Yeah.
And then the technician does the work, and then they take it off and put their own name on it. I've seen this many, many times, and many, many very, very, very famous, well-known composers have also, to a degree, been guilty of using technicians like this.
Oh yeah, we have to.
And it's something. It's interesting that now the technology has changed. That's becoming less and less common.
Yeah.
So it was in the same way that
more visible also.
It's more expected that someone who composes electronic music can actually do it themselves rather than relying on a studio technician to do it. Because it used to be that the composer would have the concepts and would point the technician
facilities to use exactly. So this is also something that confirms, by the way, things. I will refer back to John Cage. I mean, it's something we always go back to John Cage. I'm aware. I'd like to definitely give space to everyone else, of course. But there's this rumor always going on about John Cage knew about mushrooms.
Oh yeah. It was not just a rumor. He was one of the great mycologists of the 20th century. I
know, but people that has been taken to like next level extended parts. I mean, that's been confirmed. But in a way, like I have Marino's writings actually that recognizing the way he also talks about people. That's very fun to read. And one of them is about John Cage when he visits this studio and there is a mushroom reference.
Oh, good.
It's like, what is it? Like, very briefly, if I read this, on the pre-established day, so arrives punctually Mr. John Cage, tall, thin, small eyes, crew cut, very serious. Very nice. He's presented to me immediately. He empties the suitcase he's carrying with him, full of pens and pencils of all kinds, notes, paper with pentagrams, 2 books, one about mushrooms, and the other, The Way of Zen by Alan W. Watts. He becomes immediately interested in how all the machines existing in the studio function with great seriousness, even asks about the setup of the electrical schemes. He follows my explanations with the maximum attention and takes notes. So it's also like, it looks like the processes here were smooth. I mean, there are also a number of like endless things about like from Bruno, his letter to about Bruno and appreciation of that. And
well, it was Bruno Maderna that gave him the job, basically, that defined his life, wasn't it?
It is. That's why it's like very important to refer to. So to listen to the piece, actually, by in any way, if you want to listen to it, it's not like available easily online. We will drop links. Yeah, there is a physical record.
Yeah, and there will be links online to be able to hear the piece. Due to the fact that only 2 pieces composed by Zuccheri, Parete 67 and Plastico, have ever been released, both included in the sumptuous Sound Ohm book, vinyl and CD set from 2024, we will play you out with an excerpt from a piece by another composer, Luigi Nono, engineered by Zuccheri and referred to in the show, Omaggio a Emilio Vedova. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.